Nothing is legit until the money enters your hand. Don't forget, I'm still a broke young guy, just earning 50,000 naira a month. In the middle of all of this, I actually got scammed big time. A project for one of the big tech organizations in the US is looking legit. Of course, I'm desperate enough to try anything. I don't care at this point. So let's try it. And
So tell me, how did you make your first $1,000 as a Nigerian living in Nigeria?
okay, you're taking me way back, 2017, 2018. I was doing my NYSC, right? And I had NYSC allowance was 20,000 naira. My salary then was 30,000 naira. Together 50,000. That was less than $200, maybe about 150 if I'm not wrong back then. Right now the rates are crazy. Anyway, so I was doing that, and I began to think, look, I mean, I don't know how long I can continue with this. How much is what is 50,000 naira going to do for me in this kind of economy? So I was thinking, how do I expand my income? What can I do? I can't get a promotion because I'm an entry level staff. I just started working apparently. I can't increase my pay where I'm working. Yeah, I had some side gigs here and there based on what I was doing. I didn't really have a high income skill in my mind. So I was wondering what to do. Now, when I was in university, I came across some information. I had people freelancing, doing things on Fiverr, Upwork. I had guys that, bought cars and stuff, even as students. Right. So I'm like, okay, maybe that's something I can explore. And I mean, if you're working online, there is no limit to what you can do. There's no limit in terms of who you can reach and who can reach you. So I considered that. I went online. I began to search. I signed up on Fiverr, signed up on Upwork, began to make some pitches for jobs, pitches for gigs. Nothing really stuck for a long time. I followed some people, in the online space who were Nigerians talking about making money online, and $1,000 always seems to be like a benchmark. So, I mean, if you've never made any money online, you have an aspiration, you have something, you have a target you want to reach. So it could be $100, it could be 1,000, it could be 100,000. But for us, $1,000 was sizable money at the time, and it still is for most people anywhere in the world, but particularly in Nigeria. So I was thinking, I would like to make $1,000 in a month consistently, and that was my goal. That was my goal for a couple of years before I hit it. Now, I first of all thought I was going to make my first $1,000 via writing because I have always been a good writer, always been a very good artistic person. I have that art, that creative expression within me. So I thought probably writing is going to do it. But when I was on Upwork, on Fiverr, and I kept on making pitches, I never got anything back. I got maybe one small gig of $25 at some point in time. So in 2018, December, if I'm not wrong, I was so fed up. I was tired. I mean, something has to give. And I pushed hard. I went online. I'm like, what are ways I can make money online? Maybe I'm not doing something right. Maybe I need to open myself up and explore other avenues, other options. And I came across this particular website where it had a list of 60 websites where you can make money. 60 websites where you can do stuff online and make money. And I went down that list, every single one of those sites I signed up. The ones that I could sign up. Okay, some were US only, some were UK only. I decided to just stay away from those ones. Now, a lot of people in Nigeria who try to venture into the online space, you see, there's something that happens that people try to get over blockades that have been set for certain reasons that block them out of certain opportunities, and then they try to get over those blockades using sometimes means that are not totally legit. Now, the problem with that is that imagine you worked for 2 months, for instance, and it's time to get paid. You used a foreign, you maybe you used an AI generated face, maybe you used documents that were not proper, that were not legitimate. And then the platform you worked with says, okay, we're supposed to pay you $2,000. Now, show us proof that you are who you say you are. You don't have an SSN. You don't have, required documents that you should have to prove your identity. You say you live in a particular state. You don't even know what the zip code of the state is, and you have no document to back it up. So I decided I was going to do none of that. I decided that if I was going to come online, I was going to present myself authentically as a Nigerian, living in Nigeria and doing Nigerian stuff. So that's what I did. I put myself online as myself with my name, my Yoruba name. I don't even have an English or Bible or Christian name. I just put myself out there as who I am. This is what I can do. These are the services I can offer. And whoever reaches out to me is fine. If they can work with me, fine. If they can't, if they have any hang-ups, if they have any issues, no problem. And when I did that, that actually turned out to be my saving grace. Because eventually the first big opportunity I was going to get, it was for Nigerians living in Nigeria. And if I had posed as being from another country, from another region on that platform, I would not have gotten that particular gig. That project ended up spanning maybe 5-6 months, and that was the project in which I made my first $1,000. So this was what happened when I was going through that site that I mentioned, applying on different sites, filling up profiles. I had this particular site I went on, and the name of the site is Appen. I went on Appen. I had no clue if which of these sites was going to generate any form of positive breakthrough for me. So I went on Appen. I signed up. When I signed up, I put my name, put my details, all of that, and they had certain qualification tests that you could do. I did several of their qualification tests and just qualified for stuff. Right. Okay, fine, no problem. I left it. I didn't hear anything. After a while, I got an email and I saw, something from Appen. They're saying they want you to come and do a qualification test for a project, and they mentioned how much they were going to pay per hour. I was like, okay, I'm desperate enough to try anything. I don't care at this point, so let's try it. And I went there. I filled in I did the qualification test. Now there were 2 trials for that qualification test. I failed the first trial because I didn't really take it serious. I was just like, look, it's just one of those things. I don't think it's that deep. I just did it. As I failed it like this, I said, oh, more. I sat up. I said, okay, I have to pass this second one because only God knows what kind of opportunity this might turn out to be. So I sat up. I went through the details of, the material they provided, and then I did the test again, and I passed it. It's a qualification test. So I passed it. Heard back from them in a few weeks or so. We went through some of the process of onboarding for that project. I was still a bit skeptical, like, I don't know. Eventually, we started the project, and it was for a project for one of the big tech organizations in the US. And I was like, this is looking legit. Of course, nothing is legit until the money enters your hand. So this is looking legit. Let's see. Funny enough, at that time, I didn't have a laptop. I had just a phone. Even the phone, I just had a phone, right? And what I did was, so I was heavily involved in music production then. So I had a MIDI keyboard. It was quite large, and I felt like, okay, I could swap it with one of my friends who had a mini laptop I could just use for the time being until I was able to afford to get a bigger one. So we had that exchange, and I was able to have that laptop to use for a while on the project. So at first, I started the project using my phone, literally. And I saw that, I have to get a laptop for me to be able to perform on this project well. And you're being paid per hour. You're being paid based on number of tasks you're doing and stuff like that. So I had to make sure that I got that equipment from him. Fast forward, now, side story. In the middle of all of this, don't forget, I'm still a broke young guy, just earning 50,000 naira a month. I actually got scammed big time. How did I get scammed? It wasn't money. It was more of work scam. So I applied for a job on one of these platforms, and now this is also another reason why it's good to do things in an above board manner. If you do things that are either shady or maybe against terms and conditions of the platform that you're working on, you might find yourself having issues. So I was on a particular platform where you could freelance, you could do stuff for people. And one of their terms and conditions is, look, if you have a transaction with someone on this platform, stay on the platform, get your payment on the platform. But this person sent me their contact details and asked me to reach out to them. I reached out to them, and then they said, okay, we have this number of articles for you to write. Write these articles for us. I said, how many articles? I think it was 30 at the time. And I was going to get paid afterward. That should have been the red flag for me. But I didn't see it because I was desperate. And that's another lesson for me. Desperation is really, really going to mess you up. It's best to, yeah, you can be hungry, but it's best to step back when, especially when you know you have a proclivity to be desperate in the situation. It's best to step back and take an assessment of yourself in any situation before you make certain decisions. So no problem. I got started with that. I wrote, a good number of articles. In fact, because I was working full time at the time, I couldn't write all the articles. So I had people I reached out to and said, okay, help me write this article. I'll pay you this amount. So I was already owing some people that I had not collected any money. So last, I eventually ended up having to pay those guys out of pocket, and I didn't get anything in return. When we got to the 20 something article, this guy suddenly just ghosted me. And that was when I realized that it was a fake name, a fake person, etc, etc. So that was really, really terrible. But that was just also at the verge of when I was going to have a breakthrough and begin to earn a substantial amount of income. So happen, right? We're doing this project. The first paycheck that hit my Payoneer account, then that was that what launched? No, it wasn't what launched. It wasn't what launched, but the first sizable paycheck that hit my Payoneer account then was about $146, if I remember right. I don't even have that account anymore. So, but it was $100 and something. As I got that money like this, sharp, I converted it. I think I changed my phone first of all, because my phone, which I started the project with, was bad. It was just terrible. So I changed my phone first of all with that money. Thank God I already got in the laptop for my friend. So I was able to follow up with the project. I was on it back to back, morning, afternoon, evening, night. I think we were commissioned to do a minimum of 4 hours a day. I was easily doing maybe 6 hours or more. As much work as was available, I was putting in the work. So I put in the work, and by the second month, I had over $1,000 in my account. It was unbelievable for me at the time. I was glad to have hit that milestone, grateful to have hit that milestone, and I think that period was one of the periods that showed me that really you can do whatever you set your mind to. And it's not really that far-fetched. It's not really out of the picture. You might never have seen something happen, but there's a picture of possibilities that you can conceive, or if you can see other people do it, especially people in your local environment. If you don't have anybody in your immediate environment, then the internet is there, right? You can expand beyond your immediate local environment to see pictures of possibilities and to get to know what's possible for you. So that was just a beautiful moment for me. And I would like to encourage young Nigerians and, you know, other nationals out there. It's best to be above board as much as you can in your dealings. You don't need to be fraudulent. You don't need to be, shady in any of your dealings. Integrity is important, right? Integrity is important. Try your best to make sure that you are presenting yourself as authentically as possible. Add value to yourself and present yourself to the world. Those that will engage with you will engage with you. That's very important to realize. So that's it. That's how I made my first $1,000 as a Nigerian living in Nigeria. See you next video.